Well, hello, everyone. I hope you are doing well this icy afternoon. This is the Montana Campus Compact Open House. We're here as staff to give you a good overview of our programming, as well as answer any questions that you may have that you came to this session with, or that pop into your head as we review information. First, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Callie Foster. I am the AmeriCorps Vista program manager here, and my pronouns are she, they, and I served 2 consecutive service terms in Helena several years ago before moving to Missoula to work with MTCC. I really enjoyed my time here supporting not only both of our AmeriCorps programs, but specifically the Vista one. So that's a little bit about me, and I'll give Danette a moment to introduce herself as well.
Hello, I'm Danette Fadness, she, her, hers. I did serve 2 terms with Campus Compact back in the early 2000s, so I'm really pleased to be back here managing the AmeriCorps program and supporting Montana students. And since I see that Mara Jones is on, I'll let her introduce herself as our program specialist for AmeriCorps.
Thank you, Danette. My name is Maura Jones, she, her pronouns, and I am the AmeriCorps Montana Campus Compact AmeriCorps program specialist here at Montana Campus Compact. I have been here just a little over a month on the staff side at MTCC. I did serve in 2015 as the AmeriCorps Vista leader and have been following everything that Montana Campus Compact has been up to since then. I'm really excited to be a part of the team working on these initiatives across the state, and I'm excited to be part of the host site recruitment this cycle and learning about all of you and your projects. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So the objectives of this open house is to help you better understand how AmeriCorps and Vista programming can benefit your organization, understand the terms and conditions of national service programming, and understand how national service positively impacts communities and individuals who serve. Each year, more than 75,000 members serve nationwide in about 21,000 locations. And there are over 1 million alumni. And as you heard, Maura, Callie, and I are all alumni, and so is Josh, our executive director. I think everybody in our staff is an alumni, so that's pretty exciting. AmeriCorps is a network of national service programs, which are made up of 3 primary programs that each take a different approach to improving lives and fostering civic engagement. Members commit their time to address critical community needs, increasing academic achievement, mentoring youth, fighting poverty, and sustaining national parks, preparing for disasters, and more. Montana is pleased to have some very high rates of AmeriCorps members in service in our communities. So here you can see over about 500 local service sites and 3,600 AmeriCorps senior and AmeriCorps members serving here in the state. And it brings a lot of money to our state and a lot of opportunities to help critical needs within our communities. And since 1994, over $24.7 million in education awards have been awarded to AmeriCorps members serving across the country. And so it's just really an incredible program. So we're glad you're here today to learn more about that. Callie's going to share a little bit more about what Campus Compact is now.
Thanks, Danette. Sorry, I was muted. So you may be wondering who Montana Campus Compact is, and I'll share a little bit with you. We were established in 1993, and we aim to integrate civic work and learning into the curriculum and operations of our diverse network of colleges and universities throughout Montana. So students graduate with a determination and capacity to contribute to the public good throughout their lives. And higher education institutions are fully engaged with their communities, working together to educate citizens, solve problems, and build a strong democracy. So as you can see on the slide, our mission is we aim to advance the public purposes of colleges and universities by deepening their ability to improve community life and to educate students for civic and social responsibility. I put a graphic here on the slide. This is our updated graphic of our affiliate campuses here throughout Montana. And I think some of you on the call are actually faculty or staff members at our affiliate campuses, so we appreciate you being here. And our priority areas that we focus on is college attainment and student success, college success and retention of students, K through 12 student success, as well as veterans and military families' educational success. So our main beneficiaries that we focus on are first generation low income K through 12 and college students, as well as veterans and military families. So that's a little bit about Campus Compact. And then to get further into AmeriCorps, as Danette mentioned, we have two amazing AmeriCorps programs. The first one is AmeriCorps Vista, which I manage that program. And its main focus is on indirect service and anti-poverty capacity building efforts. So as you can think of indirect service more as like behind the scenes. We hope to empower communities by building up community institutions, obtaining grants and funding, recruiting volunteers, and program evaluation is activities that take place at some of our service sites that host Vistas. And then also helping nonprofits impact more people and operate more effectively. And Danette, feel free to share about AmeriCorps leaders.
Thank you. So our AmeriCorps program is a direct service program. It's that opportunity for hands-on support for students. Our main focus is juniors and seniors in high school, but we do understand that changing the whole college-going culture in a high school is important. So there may be some service with lower grades as well. Student success and college attainment is our goal, as well as career exploration. We engage students in high schools and college in service learning and volunteer opportunities. We're seeking to alleviate poverty by supporting first-generation low-income students to be successful and be able to pursue a post-secondary education. And we also do some hands-on support for college students and success and retention. And so our next slide, thank you. So these are some of the locations around the state that we do have AmeriCorps members serving or host sites. So we have 31, currently we have about 31 full-time members in service across the state and 16 college student members, which I'll talk a bit more about that when we get into more about AmeriCorps. So we are supporting 31 schools and nonprofits across the state right now in 11 different communities. So we're really super excited to see what we are doing and what our impacts will be over the next year. When we look at who is serving with Campus Compact, you can see here the home states. It's kind of exciting. You know, we've got Montana folks that are serving here, people from Florida. We actually just brought on some folks from Florida and Arizona and California, and they all come to Montana in the middle of winter to start serving. So there's a lot of folks from around the country that do come to Montana to serve, which is great. But we're also really interested in engaging Montana individuals as well. And so there are some Montana. That's 30% of the states were engaged last year. And so we have members that serve that have associate's degrees, bachelor's degrees, and even graduate degrees. So a lot of incredible people come to our state to serve. And it looks like our fields of studies, you know, psychology, political science, environmental studies is really huge right now. And 7% of our full-time members last year did identify as Native American. So we're really excited about our diverse core and bringing incredible people to our state to serve. And oftentimes many of them stick around, like Callie. Callie's originally from Florida and she's still here. So we bring them in, they're incredible humans and they stick around. So it's really fantastic. We'll move on now. So the AmeriCorps team is made up of full-time leaders and part-time college student members. So we are able to engage college students in service while they're still in college, which I think is really fabulous because then they're earning an education award to put towards their future tuition, and 13 colleges and universities in Montana may match up to $1,000 annually of that education award. So it really helps bring down the cost of college for our current students, which is really fabulous. And this summer, we do have some 10-week living allowance summer member positions available. And then we've also got some flexible 300-hour education only positions available where they would just be earning an education award, but they can serve, you know, the 300 hours, so more like 10 hours a week or something for 30 weeks, probably not, but less than the full-time 40-hour week. And we could talk more about that if you have questions. College student members, it's really exciting because they can be they can be work study students, volunteers, interns, or practicum. So they can be earning college credit and an education award while they're still in school. So it's just a really fabulous way to support college students. Next slide. So as I mentioned earlier, we should be back a slide. Oh, there we go. Yes. So as I mentioned earlier, we are a direct service side. So our members are able to serve directly with high school. Right now, they serve pre-K through high school and college students. So we really are covering all students in Montana, which is exciting. We are working to focus it looks like my computer's having problems now, so that's great. I got logged out. So we're working to focus on high school success, college attainment, and college success. And here we go. As I mentioned, our full-time members, they commit to serve for a full year, full-time. And then part-time members are college students who commit to serve 300 hours over the academic year or through the summer, depending on programming needs. And they're earning that education award, which again, some colleges in Montana may match, which is fabulous. So we will move on to the next slide though. So we left this one in here, you know, we were really proud that during 2020, when COVID broke out, we were able to continue to serve here in Montana. And as we continue moving forward, knowing that COVID is quite fluid, I just wanted to share and make sure that you know that there are ways that our members can continue to support students, either through telementoring if this is a requirement, or directly in the schools. And depending again on community needs, there could be extra COVID relief activities that they could engage in. So just putting that out there as we see some increases in COVID right now in Montana, just to make sure that, you know, that's not going to stop us from serving and getting things done here in Montana. We can go to the next slide. So in 2020, 2021, we did have 19 full-time AmeriCorps leaders and 28 part-time team members. So they served in many different communities and did the mentor. We had 223 high school mentor-mentee matches, 93 college student mentored matches, and we coached over 3,000 students in Montana for post-secondary attainment. So we're really proud of what we've been able to do here in Montana. And we do support 3 tribal nation partners, the Salish Kootenai tribes, Blackfeet Nation, and Fort Peck tribes as well. So We can go to the next slide. So our main priorities, as I talked about right now, we are pre-K through college, and we are looking to focus in a little bit more on the high school only. So mentoring and supporting first generation low-income juniors and seniors to consider for and plan for post-secondary education, and enhancing the college-going culture of high schools. So like I said, there'd be opportunity to also mentor some 9th and 10th graders as well to make sure that we are supporting all students to help them be successful, get to their junior and senior years and want to go on to college. And then we have opportunities for college near peer coaching, so success and retention, mentoring, supporting underserved students with financial literacy, academic mentoring, social emotional skill development, food insecurity, and civic engagement opportunities. And then again, we still have the K through 12, but with that one for this next year, the only way we can really continue to support them is if it's combined with some of that high school coaching with the juniors and seniors. And our priorities are to meet critical needs of communities, serving BIPOC communities as needed. And we could go to the next slide. So this slide just kind of has an overview of some of the great things that our members can support within high schools. You know, creating that college going culture is so very important. And even into college, you know, helping students be successful once they get there. And you can see the juniors and seniors are a little different color there, as that is our main priorities. So hosting AmeriCorps Team can be extremely helpful in removing barriers and supporting Montana students. Members can enhance your college going culture, supporting ACT and prep, academic mentoring, campus tours, scholarship support, and more. And we are developing, and we do have some telementoring best practice guide to help when schools are not able or youth-focused programming isn't able to meet in person. And let's see. And so now Callie is going to share a little bit more about our Vista capacity building and national service programming.
All right, thanks, Danette. It looks like we do have a question on the chat. Oh, no, just a comment. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about our Vista programming. So opposite of what Danette's members do, Vista is more directed or indirect service focused. And we have two really great opportunities under the Vista program. So year-long members and then summer associates. So Vistas provide essential capacity building services to our affiliate campuses, local nonprofits, government agencies, K through 12 schools, and then, as I mentioned, educational institutions, whether they are our affiliates or not, to help them more effectively generate the commitment of private sector resources, encourage volunteer service at the local level, and empower individuals and Montana communities. They serve full-time on a 1-year term basis. So it is a full 365 calendar days that year-long members commit to. And then a little bit more about summer associates. So summer associates, they are on a much shorter service term, but still serving full time for 10 weeks. Typically, these members help run summer educational programs, expand opioid prevention programs, and support summer meal sites. So it sounds pretty vague, but we like to keep it that way so we can support pretty much any and all of our summer sites. Service terms, they begin the first Monday in June. So for this year, 2022, that will be June 6th that they begin. And excuse me, previously mentioned in this slide, for year-long members, they start service in early July or mid-August and go the full 365 calendar days. So for year-long members, we're hoping to start them in the summer, and then you have them for the full year until summer of 2023. Okay, so Vista projects are meant to increase an organization's effectiveness, efficiency, and overall reach through utilizing a Vista member's time and skills. Vista projects are meant to be rooted in sustainability, capacity building, and indirect service. And Vista projects can partner with Montana Campus Compact and AmeriCorps for up to 3 years to ensure its development and implementation. And also Vista should also gain professional guidance and experience from host sites. So there is a little bit of like a coaching component here. Most of our members that come into service, they are green to the workforce, recent college graduates that are ready to get things done. They're excited. They're hoping to gain professional skills through service, such as grant writing, other fundraising activities, nonprofit management, dipping their toes into, post-secondary education, or just general nonprofit work. Let's see. So you might be wondering, what can a Vista do at your service site or within your project? They can build a campus community partnership to strengthen your programming, create sustainable volunteer streams for a nonprofit organization or program. So that is, creating a volunteer program, recruiting volunteers, managing those volunteers. They can lead a community needs assessment to really evaluate, gaps in the community and services, resources that are provided either through your nonprofit or your institution or similar organizations. They can create awareness campaigns and recruit volunteers. They can leverage grant or in-kind resources. Develop a recruitment campaign for college students to serve within a project or a program. Expand programs to help low-income families navigate college applications and enrollment. Develop a mentoring program for students identified as at risk of dropping out of either high school or post-secondary education. They can also develop systems for organizing job shadowing and internship or practicum opportunities for students and more. We have members serving currently and in the past that have done more than this, but typically this is what you will see on a typical Vista's work plan. A little bit of, statistics, impacts of Vista service. So this was, I believe, not this previous cohort, or not my current cohort, but my previous cohort. So my previous cohort were able to generate about $414,000 in grants or in-kind donations. They also served over almost 6,000 veterans, military, and family members. They served 190 organizations. So this is, not only their core organization, but partners that they were either able to create or strengthen. A little over 1,100 community volunteers were recruited through Vista efforts. And the number of youth served through Vista projects was just over 16,000 across 20 different projects throughout Montana. So just a little bit of information to throw out there, a nice humble brag that our Vistas have gotten a lot of things done in just a matter of a year at a service site. And then you might also be wondering, with COVID developments, how we and Vista as an agency are handling COVID. One thing I do want to mention is, as we've seen over the past 2 years, things are always evolving. So we are trying to stay up on all of this, but service members can engage in teleservice full-time based off of Vista policy. My preference and MTCC's preference is that service members are serving within the state of Montana. There is a clause that if teleservice was to end, that members are supposed to report to their service site within 24 hours. So to combat that, we are asking that all of our service members are serving within the state. Just as a reminder, policies and procedures will change and evolve over time as things with COVID change. And the host site must be able to provide the minimum PPE and adhere to COVID aware policies put in place either by the CDC and the state of Montana. If you're interested in finding out more information, you could easily just Google National Service AmeriCorps COVID, and it will come up with a really great, Informational Vista FAQ and policies if you are interested in reviewing those. Okay, so thanks for sticking around for this webinar. And if any of this is exciting you, we want to get into a little bit about how our programming is low cost yet high impact. So again, full-time members serve for a full year, and it costs our office and AmeriCorps approximately $32,000 a year to place a full-time member, which includes living allowance, education award, healthcare, as well as member support, program administration, training, and service-related travel costs. So there's a lot included in there that we try to provide our members. If you're wondering about our cost share fee, for affiliate campuses, it is $6,250 for the entire year. And for non-affiliate organizations, it's $8,250. So that is for nonprofits, K through 12 schools, and government agencies. And again, just as a reminder, it does include your members' living allowance, education award, which the education award is a government trust in your member's name that they can utilize for up to 7 years. And it can be utilized to either pay for previous student loans or future education. And then healthcare, member assistance, and then training and more, as I mentioned, those travel costs, program administration, as well as member support. Okay. All right. So along with the cost share, host sites must be prepared to provide support to members, with an office space, a computer, a phone, and a site supervisor that can commit 15 to 20% of their time to supporting the member or members. We find it is best to meet weekly to help retain these members and to support them in success and support them to be successful in service. So being a site supervisor can be really meaningful as a site supervisor. Those are notes from previous. But yes, we do hope that you have the organizational capacity to host a national service member with those things mentioned previously, but also, again, I just want to remind you that there is a little bit of a coaching component to this with our members, and we have seen high rates of retention and success with supervisors who set themselves and their member up for service or for success before they come into service. So it's really important that you identify a really great supervisor that can commit their time to supporting a member. So it looks like, there are many benefits of hosting a service member, but we just wanted to put a nice quote here. And it's from one of my previous supervisors. And they said, as a supervisor, I create space for young adults to find their leadership skills and put them to action. Members are challenged and pushed to grow into assertive, confident leaders. Supporting this growth is one of the most rewarding experiences I have as a manager. So that's just a little bit of feel-good language with a nice picture of one of our previous members serving. So Danette is going to share more about the benefits of service on the next slide.
Thank you, Kelly. So as Kelly mentioned, the full-time members do serve 1 year full-time. They receive a modest living stipend and healthcare member assistance, which is kind of a mental health care and a wellness like website and stuff. So it's really fabulous. Childcare assistance if they qualify, personal and medical leave. They receive a ton of great opportunities for professional development throughout the year. And next year's full-time members will be earning a $6,495 education award. And as I mentioned earlier, There's potential for education awards to be matched and in Montana, but also across the country. So they could really turn that into $10,000 towards graduate education, which is really fabulous. And I apologize if you can hear my dog barking. I think she wants in the room with me. I'm not sure. So you can go to the next slide. So these are just some really great graphics about how fantastic AmeriCorps is. I think we've kind of shared how fantastic it is, but you know, as I talked about earlier, many of our members actually stay in Montana and are professionals here. And some of them are hired on by their sites. And it looks like it's really great for your resume. Oftentimes, somebody who has AmeriCorps on their resume will rise to the top in when they are doing interviews and stuff. But 82% of AmeriCorps host organizations surveyed said they hired at least one AmeriCorps member since 2012. And 80% of alumni say that AmeriCorps benefited their career path. And I think Callie and Maura and I and Josh can attest to that as well. You know, there's been billions of dollars of help for students to be able to go to college, which is quite fabulous. So now that you know how incredibly amazing AmeriCorps is and how incredibly amazing Campus Compact is, I want to pause here for any questions that you may have had from all of the things that we've talked about so far. All right, there's a question out here in the chat. What limits the size of Montana's Vista program? The availability of projects, Vista volunteers, or money? Josh or Callie?
I think I could maybe answer this question. I think the main thing that limits the size of our programming, I can't really speak for other intermediaries or sponsors in Montana, but what limits the size of our programming is mainly the amount of funding that we receive from the federal agency of AmeriCorps, and also our ability to do, you know, site development and get really great sites to host service members. You know, sure, yeah, Vista volunteers, recruitment, it all is kind of blends in together. It's all interconnected. Josh, I don't know if you want to answer this question or add to it, but that's kind of my take on it, is that there's a lot of interconnectedness that does limit the size, but also all of that interconnectedness allows us to then provide really great programming. So yeah, Josh, if you wanted to add anything?
I think you hit it. You know, we are, excuse me, our program is approved for 29 full-time AmeriCorps Vista placements statewide. And we normally kind of spread those between the full year placements and then a cohort of summer people. But so we're the education and veterans programming intermediary. There are others as well that work in, you know, health and economic development, I think, are the two big other areas for Vista. But I think were we to have a single partner who said, look, we have the need for placing 10 Vistas in anti-poverty capacity building projects, you know, that kind of align well with kind of this educational mission, we would do everything in our power to support that and find the resources. But yeah, there is a finite sort of budget on what we are allotted, and nationally, of course. Those are the big, I think, sideboards on what we do. Great question.
It looks like there's another one. What does MTCC site development involve? That mainly involves us, you know, researching, looking for, you know, schools, nonprofit, government agencies that, you know, have funding or have the desire or need, interest to host an AmeriCorps member. So typically takes effort from our office as well as AmeriCorps itself, as well as just, you know, word of mouth. That has been the greatest thing for us, of, you know, sites that have utilized an AmeriCorps member, and they, you know, their partners are looking for the same sort of support. But site development really just involves getting information out there. There's an application process that projects and supervisors need to go through. So we gather all the necessary information to approve that project. You know, the component of, you know, how relatable is it to our mission? Is there a community need? Is there a poverty alleviation component to it as well? And then through that application process, that then brings us into member recruitment. So there is a bit of a cycle there with it. And then it looks like there is another question that says, what does the application process look like? And if you do end up with a member, what is the reporting like? So the application process is pretty simple. We release an application on our website through a like a cloud-based platform called Submittable. They are a local company here in Missoula, and they make it really easy to you know, have people apply. The application for the initial year is lengthier than, say, projects that are looking to return or get a second year or a third year member. And typically, once you submit an application, our office reviews your application and kind of like ranks it with a rubric. And then if there is anything that we need additional information on or some clarification, it usually takes us a week or two to go through the review and clarification process. And then we are hoping to award projects the end of this month or the beginning of February, in the hopes that we can start recruiting for a member in middle of February. And we are trying to get ahead of those soon to be graduates that are looking for, you know, impactful opportunities after they graduate. And if you do end up with a member, what is the reporting like? So each program in our office has different reporting requirements, and I can give you a little information about Vista, and then Danette can give you some information about AmeriCorps leaders. On the Vista side of things, there is, you know, a timekeeping system that we have that members need to report on. Our expectation is that Vista members are serving between 35 and 40 hours a week for that year of service. So they report on their time. They also report on work plans. We want to know exactly what the member has going on a month-to-month basis, so we can kind of monitor if they're staying within the realm of capacity building and poverty alleviation. And then with our last component of reporting, there are performance measures within our grant that you would identify with your project, and your member is responsible for reporting on those each month. And so that is through another, you know, cloud-based platform where they identify who they are, which site they're serving with, and then they report on some pretty generic demographics, and then also the identified performance measures that you have identified. And so it's up to you to come up with, you know, the data collection method, because it depends on what works best for your site. And then once you collect that data, you would then just communicate it to us through that monthly reporting. And then Danette, would you like to share on yours?
Yeah, so our members, our full-time members do serve 40 hours a week, and we do have a time log system for them to log their hours in, and then host site supervisors would approve hours weekly. And then as far as reporting out, we have a report that they would go into and update how many students that they have served with, and other information much the same as Callie's. And you would gather your data from your end and work together with them to upload that monthly. And we love it when they share stories and photos and things as well about their service experience. I will share that I did share the host site application page where you can look at AmeriCorps and Vista and click on those and go through to apply if you are interested. And then the next question there is about the Clark Fork watershed, Callie, and I think that's for you. How many vistas can they have in a lifetime?
Yeah, Tammy, I can answer your question. So it sounds like you've had vistas serve within your organization in the past. I'm assuming they were working on a well-defined program or project that you had listed in your previous applications. You're not limited to the number of vistas you can have in a lifetime. You are limited to the number of vistas that you can have for one distinct project within your organization. So right now, if you were to apply with a brand new project, not the same project that you had previously hosted vistas for, we could offer vistas for anywhere between 1 to 3 years within the same project. So, and it's not guaranteed that it would be the same Vista member from year to year. It would be the same project within those 3 years. So you would likely have 3 separate members come on to serve within that project. And then if you had a new project within your organization, you could then apply to host 3 more vistas for 3 years with a different project. I hope that makes sense. Perfect. Okay, sounds like it does make sense. All right, and it looks like we have plenty of time if there are more questions, or if you just want to kind of bounce ideas off of us or anything, but I did move to the next slide that has our contact information on it. So you can see that Danette's phone number, email, and name are listed there, and the same with mine. So just as a reminder, I am with the Vista program here in our office, and Danette is with the AmeriCorps program. And I think there might be another slide with more information that I'll go to. If it, oh, did it freeze on me? There we go. Okay, sorry about that. So we do have a deadline of January 26th of this month. This is our priority deadline to have your application submitted to us. You can find all of that information on our website, which is mtcompact.org. If you were invited to this webinar from us, most likely we have sent you the application or a location of where you can apply. Excuse me. I also want to note that this is our priority deadline, and we will accept applications on a case-by-case basis after the 26th of this month. Doug, did you have a question? I saw you had your hand raised.
Yeah, is my mic on? Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm Doug Coe, and I'm with the Science Mind, which is a nonprofit experiential science organization in Butte, Montana. And we are contemplating putting in an application. But my question is, what role does, if any, does the host organization play in selecting the volunteer?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we do have a recruitment procedure that we stick pretty strictly to. But within that application, you're going to let us know who your ideal candidate is, what qualifications they have, what degree they have, and what experience you would like them to have. And so we want you to paint a picture of what your ideal candidate is. So when we do national recruitment, that we can easily identify candidates that are qualified and interested in your site. And so through that recruitment process, we ask for them to have an AmeriCorps specific application that they submit through the AmeriCorps website, and then also what we call a supplement application. And this is just information that we need to effectively recruit members and to kind of vet them to make sure that they are qualified on a more logistical level. Are they a U.S. citizen? Are they of age? Do they have any previous convictions? Those sorts of things. And then once we identify a candidate that is qualified and that is interested in serving with your site, we do a matching process. So staff members in our office, they are assigned to a candidate. They go through reviewing the application, interviewing the candidate, and then acting as their advocate during that matching meeting. And so if we match a candidate that is interested in your site and they qualify and kind of tick all those boxes for you, then we say, okay, host site such as Doug, this is the person that we have found that we think would serve the best at your site. And then we give you the opportunity to review all of their application materials and interview them. So it gives you a chance to get to know them, see if it would be a good match for you. And then separately, you would say, okay, yes, I like this person, I would like them to come serve. And then we would expect the same communication from that candidate as well. And then if it's both a match and you both say, yes, we would like to move forward, then we would start the onboarding process. On the other side of that, we encourage sites to do their own local recruitment. So if you have a volunteer pool or a previous intern, or you're aware of a soon-to-be graduate that is interested in doing service and that would qualify and ticks all those boxes for you, then you would be able to say, hey, Montana Campus Compact, this person has expressed interest. I know who they are. I've worked with them in the past. I think they're well qualified. Then we can still put them through our recruitment procedure for logistical reasons, but then they're not going to be matched to a different project. They would then become your AmeriCorps member if you both say, yes, we want to do this. So the process is similar for local or national recruits, but it's a much easier thing if you're able to identify exactly who you want to serve with you. Does that answer your question, Doug?
Yeah, that was a great answer. Thanks.
Thanks. Yeah, recruitment's a doozy. I try to stay in the know of everything with that. Okay, any other questions? Tammy asked, are there any issues with sharing a Vista? It really depends. I currently have a member who is serving with 2 different nonprofits, and they split their time pretty evenly between both of the nonprofits. The only issue that I have seen arise with this sort of situation is supervision, making sure that both supervisors are in communication with each other and that the expectations are laid out there early on in the service term or even before the AmeriCorps member starts service. And then also with just splitting time, there are ebbs and flows within organizations, and maybe for a couple of weeks it's really ramped up for one nonprofit and maybe a little less work is required for another one. So we want to be able to strike a balance there. But we have seen success with sharing a Vista. But like, as I said before, we just want to make sure that you're thinking of everything that needs to happen before the member comes on, because you only have them for a year. So you want to make sure that you're not building the plane as you fly it. Once they come into service, you want to make sure that everything is kind of flushed out before they begin service. Course. And Danette, Josh, I don't know if you wanted to add to that. Danette, I'm not sure if you have members that are kind of shared between 2 entities.
Yeah, there is ways that they can go between different high schools or youth focused programming, and again, kind of the same ideas that you had, working it out in advance and understanding what expectations are. So definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would add too, and thanks for the question, Tammy. Our hope when we place AmeriCorps and Vista members off, with nonprofit, nonprofit and school partners, is that they do have a really strong campus partnership, so that there really is that reciprocity that's going on, ways for the campus to tie in with the science mind, for example, thinking about like the learning opportunities that represents, and the opportunities for maybe volunteerism or service projects. So in many ways, it's our hope that, that there is especially for the placements that are off of campuses, that there is a good, strong connection to a campus that kind of backs it up. But if there are specific, separate kind of pieces of work that you're hoping to get done at the campus level, I completely back up what Callie and Danette have said about just strong communication and kind of clarity about where, where the priorities are and how the time is split and who supervises for what portion, and really, thinking about what is possible in a year's time or in 40 hours in a week, so that that person doesn't feel like they're, kind of physically being pulled in two directions by two competing, sets of priorities or anything of that sort. But that's a great question.
Looks like Doug may have another question. You'll have to unmute.
Yeah, no, I don't have another question. Good discussion, though.
Yeah, I think the hand raise thing stays up there for a while on Zoom.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, and I was going to add just briefly, I see that Ben is on from the Department of, I want to say, Public Administration at the University of Montana. Thanks for being here. We're really encouraging our campuses to think broadly about how they can either with a Vista member build capacity for some of the work that you're hoping to get done that supports low income minoritized students in your unit or discipline, or that attracts students, or perhaps that deepens a partnership that already exists with the nonprofit sector. I know you guys do a ton there, both with the MPA program and Bacchus Institute and so forth. So we're really up for innovative ideas and folks thinking about how do we, as higher education, really, support this idea that, leveling the playing field for students that come in at a disadvantage to some of their peers, and how do we sort that out and provide extra supports and really dig into that intentionally. So thanks for making some time today.
Absolutely. And just, let me say, first and foremost, as a public service guy, love what you do. As a former TRIO student services guy, love what you all do. And yeah, I really appreciate the information, and we'll take this to our folks, and hopefully we can figure out some way that we can partner and get some good work done. So thank you for what you all do.
Thank you.
Of course. So it looks like we just have a few more minutes until the end of our time together. So if there's no more questions, then we probably get a couple more minutes back in our day. But if not, or if you have more questions, myself, Josh, and Danette, and probably Maura can stay on till 2:30. And also, if you have any questions after this webinar, I'll go back to the slide that has our contact information. I'd say the best way to get a hold of most of us in the office is probably through email, as we do have some folks working remotely at the moment, but you can always feel free to call us, leave us a message, and shoot us an email.